No one ever plans to give birth alone. Not when your heart has loved someone with everything you have. Not when the life growing inside you is supposed to be the result of two people standing together. But life, as I would learn, is not a straight line. The night my daughter came into the world, I wasn't surrounded by flowers or family. There was no proud father holding my hand, whispering how strong I was. It was just me and the weight of everything unsaid. But sometimes, just when you think a door has closed forever, someone walks back through it. I met Adam on a warm spring afternoon on campus at University of Michigan. I was late to class, juggling a cup of coffee, my backpack, and a stack of notebooks. He held the door open for me, flashing that kind of smile that makes you forget what day it is. "Thanks," I said, slightly breathless. "No problem. You look like you're running from a crime scene," he teased. I laughed. That's how it started, a simple smile, a joke, a spark. Adam was studying mechanical engineering. I was majoring in early childhood education. He loved hiking, I loved reading. He hated sushi, I loved it. We were opposites in almost everything, but somehow it worked. Over the next 2 years, our lives became intertwined. Long study nights, road trips, small fights, making up, talking about our dreams. He wanted to design renewable energy systems someday. I wanted to be a teacher. He said he'd build the house. I said I'd fill it with love. The pregnancy test lay face down on the bathroom sink. My hands were shaking as if the little stick could bite me. 3 minutes. 3 long, never-ending minutes. When I finally turned it over, there it was. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. I sat on the floor and pressed a hand to my mouth. It wasn't fear exactly. More like an earthquake beneath my feet. Everything I thought was stable suddenly wasn't. When I told Adam that night, he went quiet. Not angry, not joyful, just quiet. He stared at the table for what felt like an eternity. "Are you sure?" he asked. I nodded. He ran a hand through his hair. "We're still in school. We're not ready for this." "I know," I said softly, "but this is happening." His eyes flickered between mine and the floor. "I just need time to think." That night, I lay awake in the dark while he slept next to me, feeling the smallest flicker of life inside me. I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning of everything changing. The next few weeks were a blur of doctor's appointments, whispered conversations, and 1,000 unknowns. Adam grew distant. He started skipping our usual coffee mornings, coming home late from study groups. One night, he sat me down on the couch, his hands clenched tightly. "Lena," he said quietly, "I can't do this." My heart thudded. "What do you mean?" "I can't be a father right now. I can't give this baby the life it deserves." "Adam," I reached for his hand, but he pulled back. "I have my career. My plans. I can't throw it all away. I love you, but I can't do this." Those words stayed lodged in my chest like glass. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just watched as he packed a duffel bag and walked out of our small apartment. The sound of the door closing felt like the end of a chapter one hadn't finished reading. The pregnancy wasn't easy. Morning sickness hit me like a storm. My ankles swelled, my back ached, and every night I lay alone in bed, one hand on my belly, whispering to the tiny heartbeat growing inside me. "You and me, baby," I'd whisper. "We've got this." I moved out of the apartment we shared. My parents lived 2 states away, and although they supported me, I wanted to do this on my own. I took extra tutoring shifts, lived frugally, and decorated a small nursery corner in my 1-bedroom apartment with hand-me-downs. Every doctor's visit, I sat alone in the waiting room. When they asked, "Will the father be joining?" I always smiled politely and shook my head. I told myself I didn't need him. But deep down, on the quiet nights, I ached. One evening, around 26 weeks, I was reading on the couch when I felt it, a small flutter, then a kick. I froze. Then I laughed, tears blurring my eyes. "Hey there," I whispered, pressing a hand to my belly. "You're really in there." It was the first time I didn't feel entirely alone. That little kick was my baby telling me, "I'm here, Mom. We're in this together." I started recording every moment, Her kicks, hiccups, doctor's visits, my growing bump. It was my way of building a story she could someday know, of how loved she was before she even arrived. 3 months before my due date, I got an email from Adam. The subject line was one word: sorry. I almost deleted it. Inside, he wrote, "Lena, I think about you and the baby every day. I know I left when I shouldn't have. I was scared. That's not an excuse, just the truth. I don't know how to make this right. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just a chance to talk." I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wanted to write back. Where were you when I was scared? When I cried alone at night? But another part of me, the part that remembered our late-night talks, our shared dreams, the way he used to hold me like I was his whole world, whispered, maybe people can change. I didn't reply that day. But I didn't delete it either. As my due date grew closer, everything felt heavier. My body, my heart, the silence. I worked until I physically couldn't anymore. Every night, I folded tiny onesies and arranged the baby's corner of the room. I read parenting books, practiced breathing exercises, and learned how to swaddle a doll. But nothing could prepare me for doing it alone. One night, my best friend Julia came over with takeout and a fierce hug. "You're the bravest woman I know," she said. I laughed. "Brave or stupid?" "Brave," she insisted. "You're going to be an incredible mom." The contractions started at 2:17 a.m. At first, I thought it was just another sleepless night. But when the pain hit again, sharper, I knew. I grabbed my hospital bag and called a cab. The ride was long. Cold streetlights flashed by as I breathed through the pain, clutching the seat. At the hospital, nurses rushed me to the maternity ward. "Is the father on the way?" a nurse asked kindly. "No," I whispered. I labored for hours. The pain was relentless, waves crashing over me with no mercy. I squeezed Julia's hand until my knuckles were white. She dropped everything to be there. When the doctor said it was time to push, a calm settled over me. This was it. This was the moment everything changed. As I bore down with another push, sweat dripping down my forehead, I heard the door open. I didn't have the strength to look, but Julia gasped softly. "Lena," she whispered. And then I heard it. "Lena." His voice. I turned my head, and there he was, Adam. Disheveled, breathless, tears in his eyes, still in his jacket like he'd run all the way. "Why are you here?" I panted between contractions. "Because I should have never left," he choked out. He rushed to my side, gently taking my hand from Julia's. His grip was firm, warm. "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere again." I should have pushed him away. But in that moment, with pain and life colliding, I just squeezed his hand. And then, one last push, and the room filled with the sharp, beautiful cry of a baby. Our baby. And then, one last push, and the room filled with the sharp, beautiful cry of a baby. Our baby. The next morning, Adam sat beside my hospital bed, our daughter sleeping in the bassinet. "I was terrified," he said quietly. "I thought I'd ruin everything. I thought I couldn't be what she needed. But when I saw your emails still unread, I got in the car and drove all night." "I hated you," I said honestly. "Every kick, every lonely doctor's visit. I wanted you to hurt like I did." "I do," he whispered. "Every day." Silence stretched between us, full of everything we hadn't said. Then I looked at our daughter, her tiny fingers curled in sleep, and I realized this story wasn't just about me anymore. Adam didn't move back in right away. I didn't let him. Trust wasn't something you rebuild overnight. But he came every day. He learned how to change diapers, warm bottles, rock her to sleep. He applied for a job closer to me. He showed up for midnight feedings, for doctor visits, for every small moment he'd once abandoned. I watched him grow, not into the perfect man, but into a man who showed up. Slowly, carefully, the walls I'd built began to crack. On our daughter's first birthday, Adam handed me a small box. "Before you say anything," he said nervously, "I'm not asking you to forget what happened. I'm asking you to see who I am now." Inside was a simple gold ring. No big speech, no fireworks. Just him, eyes steady. "I love you," he said. "Not because it's easy. Because it's real. And because I'll never run again." I didn't answer right away. I looked at our daughter clapping in her high chair, at the man who had once left and fought his way back. And I said, yes. Our wedding was small, family, friends, and our daughter as the flower girl. When I walked down the aisle, Adam didn't just see the woman he loved. He saw the woman who raised his daughter when he couldn't. And when I saw him waiting, I didn't just see the man who left. I saw the man who came back. Life didn't turn perfect overnight. We fought sometimes. Parenting was messy, exhausting, beautiful. But we faced it together. Adam never missed another big moment. First steps, first day of preschool, late night fevers, he was there. And every year, on our daughter's birthday, I remember that night in the hospital. The night I thought I was alone, and he walked in. When our daughter turned 10, she asked, "Mom, were you scared when I was born?" I smiled. "Yes, sweetheart. I was terrified." "But Daddy was there, right?" she asked. I paused. "Yes," I said softly. "He came back, right when it mattered most." She grinned and ran off to play. She'll never fully know the ache of that night, or how it changed us. But she'll know she was loved. Deeply. Fiercely. From the very first breath. Sometimes love doesn't arrive the way you expect it. Sometimes it walks through the door, at the very last minute. Not to erase the pain, but to prove it was real all along.